those who are staying.
Yeah, exactly.
We're live.
Are we on? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody in the sanctuary, and good morning to those of you that are live streaming with us this morning. We appreciate all of you for being here, especially all of you who know you're not sweet enough to melt in the rain. But you're solid. You're solid, and thank you for being here. I know I have a very strange question this morning, but my question is this, and I really need answers. I'll be asking it again and again because not everybody's here. Christmas. Christmas is on a Sunday. We are a church and we have to be open on a Sunday. So are you guys going to?
And there's a Packer game that day.
No, there's not.
Yes, there, Christmas Day. Yes, there is.
Yeah, Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Christmas Day is the 25th of Sunday.
There's a Packer game that day.
Saturday. Christmas Day is on Saturday.
Christmas Eve is Saturday. Did you
No.
look at the calendar?
Christmas Day is Sunday.
You could tape it. You could tape it.
I don't care about it, I'm just informing her.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Packer game is certainly more important
Than
than
Christmas.
Christmas, the birth of Christ. I mean, let's
Yeah.
not get, let's not get all confused.
Friday, Saturday.
Huh?
Friday, Saturday.
Friday's,
He's
Christmas
right.
is Saturday?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, Tom, you're right.
Tom is right.
Okay, so we're just open and you'll be here.
Yeah.
The week before, shall we do other Friday night, holiday service like we used to do before COVID? Are you guys gonna show up, for that? Raise your hand and say yes.
Is that Christmas Eve are you talking about?
Hmm?
Christmas Eve?
No, the week before.
The week before.
Hello?
I don't know.
You would show up. Good. Okay, so one person's coming. You're showing. All right, we need two. Okay, we have 3 people showing up. All right, I'm gonna keep asking this question. We used to do a holiday big service and then the Sunday morning service, but with COVID, it got all canceled. So I'm trying to get my head wrapped around which way we go this year. All right. And with that, let's stand and sing Trust the Wind.
Inside my head, telling me I'm gonna be alright. It keeps saying that you're something where you are now. Don't hold back, don't put up a fight. It tells me trust the wind, breathe the air. There's a place you're meant to be, and you're already there. Open up your heart and let life in. Know that you can always trust the wind. When the world starts doing things that I don't understand, and I search my soul to find a reason why. In the dark night, I feel somebody take my hand and tell me you don't even have to try. For you can trust the wind, breathe the air. Know that there are helping hands around you everywhere. Open up your heart and let life in. Know that you can always trust the wind. Dreams have wings, thoughts take flight. Hold trees are screaming for us every day. They hear our prayers, they know the way. I'm gonna trust the wind, breathe the air. Let it take me on its wings and carry me somewhere. I'm open up my heart and let life in. I know I let the breezes blow, forever winding rivers flow. I'm going where I need to go. I can trust the
Beautiful. You're all fired. Choir practice will start tomorrow morning at 9. You're really good, you guys. You're really good. And now I would like to ask Tom Clever to come up and read the daily word for the day, light our Christ candle, and light the flames of faith for me. Tom.
Thank you, Dr. Lynn. The daily word for today is together. Life is made full through togetherness. I know what it is to be in a crowded place, yet feel alone. I also know what it is to be by myself and feel a deep oneness with all people. Today, I bring that feeling of connectedness to all of my encounters. Whether with family and friends, co-workers, or other acquaintances, I see all people as fellow spiritual beings, as children of God. Taking this perspective wherever I go, I never need feel alone or lonely, whether in solitude, in the company of one or two others, or even amongst a multitude of people. I look beyond our differing backgrounds, beliefs, and perspectives, and see the human family in all its glorious diversity. One in God, we are together. John 13:35, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. And we light the Christ candle today in that spirit of togetherness, knowing that we are all one and all connected.
And as we begin the flames of faith, we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of light, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experiences, which we honor here today. So as Tom lights the first candle, we light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the last candle that we light a candle for all of those who are who are as yet unaware of the power and the presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them here in this center, and for all religions unnamed in this ceremony. We have a new version of the Lord's Prayer today, so just follow through the best that you can.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Pretty, right? Yeah. That's what happens when I put a CD in my car driving all the way to a conference in the back. I find songs that I like. And I thought that was a great one. So today we're talking about spiritual understanding. I'm kind of following a theme for the past few weeks. And part of it, I ask you to bear with me because part of the training is unity. They've asked that the newly licensed do a theme of basic unity. And I was talking to Reverend Mo about that on Saturday, saying, my other part of me from all the books I'm reading, and she goes, well, share it with your congregation and let them know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and they will just ride along with you on this train of unity. So that's what we're doing right now. That's what I'm doing right now. So thank you for being on the road with me. I couldn't do it without you, as a matter of fact. So in Proverbs 3:13 and 4:7, the Bible actually gives us the best understanding of spiritual understanding, or the best example. So here's what it says. Happy are those who find wisdom and those who get understanding, for her income is better than silver and her revenue is better than gold. She is more precious than the jewels, and nothing you can desire can compare with her. Long life is her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honors. Her ways are of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is the tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold fast are called happy. But whatever else you get understanding. And I find it interesting, and it made me chuckle a little bit, because you're talking about her as spiritual understanding in the feminine, and that was back in the Old Testament, so that kind of made me chuckle a little bit. And then I went, long life is her right hand. I thought, gee, he's talking about me, and like Jenna Richards, and her ways are blessed in us. Thank you, Proverbs, for writing about me in your Bible. So anyhow, thank you for those of you who were smiling. So this realization of truth then is to the consciousness of a person's spiritual understanding. And I know that many of us are basically happy and relatively healthy people according to our beliefs, but we still have further to go. I have further to go. So there's no limit then to our spiritual understanding. Deeper and deeper must be our intention, because until that depth of our being will come to our consciousness, we are not there yet. We're not one with our Creator. In our minds we are, and in our intellect we are, but in our hearts and souls, I know I am not quite there. And to get there, we have to reach that total embodiment of spiritual understanding. So let's take a look again at the proverb again. Happy are those who find wisdom and those who get understanding. So what does that mean to you? Happy are those who find wisdom and get understanding. Anybody want to venture a guess? What does that mean to you? Remember, we're interactive. I'm down here with you. Go ahead, Tom. Go for it.
Understand the ramifications of everything that happens around you and try to look at it in the highest point of view.
Absolutely. So understanding then, and those who get understanding, for her income is better than gold and her revenue is better than silver. So in the Testament then, why are we happier with wisdom? And why is it worth more than silver and gold? And it is because when you have spiritual understanding and when you're one with it, then there's unlimited possibilities for you, and all that looks like silver and gold to you, then you can have it because you have an infinite possibility. So the more that you're embodied in spiritual understanding, spiritual vision, spiritual truth, the more that you put out the goodness of the abundance in your life, and the more the abundance of life comes back to you. So if spiritual understanding is precious and nothing compares to her, what is? Dancing with the beloved. My joy is dancing with the beloved. You have that opportunity to do whatever it is that you want to do. And she's the tree of life. The tree of life. Those who hold her fast are called happy. So think about the tree of life. Think about the roots growing deep and holding up the foundation. So the tree of life then gives us the gift, because the stronger our foundation is, the stronger our beliefs in spiritual understanding, in new thought, in metaphysics, or unity, whatever, divine science and Christian science, and CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, the deeper our roots are, and that can go for being Protestant, Catholic, or Jewish also, and all of the other religions that we honor. So it's important then that we understand that it's the gift of God. It will come to all who seek it aright. So to seek it aright means what? That you're not seeking for power, and you're not seeking for pure riches of gold, but what you're seeking for is the consciousness of God within and the oneness. And when you have that consciousness and you have that oneness, then you have all that God has to give. And Jesus said it is the gift of God, and it comes to all who seek it aright. And Emerson supports this statement by saying that this energy, this consciousness of God, does not descend into any individual life or any other condition other than for those that are open to receive. What Emerson says is one must be totally totally immersed in the search, and then the desire to know God. And that's the crux of the whole thing. You know, what is the beginning of your day? What is your intention of the day? What is the purpose of the day? To be one with Spirit. To be one with Spirit. Not to gain power, not to gain riches, but to gain peace of the assurance that God is, and God is all there is. God is absolute truth, the indwelling life within. And again, whatever else you get insight, get understanding. You know, and I spoke last week about the class that we're going to be doing, the Untethered Soul. And Reverend Mo and I were speaking about that, and she said when she first came here that you guys were going into that book, and she tried to talk you out of it because she felt you weren't ready, you needed more basic unity, so to speak. And I said last week, we are so ready now to go deeper. And think about that. We're talking maybe 4 years when Reverend Mo was here and now. And so whatever else you get, insight, and we keep getting more insight and more insight and more see, the deeper we go. And yet the doubters say, show me your God. Show me your God. I want to see your God. So I point to them, the smiling skies, and I show them the hills, rock-ribbed and strong, and I bid them hear the thrush song. And it's really interesting, the hills of the rock-ribbed and strong. When I was driving to the conference, I told a couple of you, I was surprised to see on the sides of the roads going out of Wisconsin, where obviously there were mountains or something, because there was rocks this high on each side of the road, and I expected Wisconsin Drive to be all just flat and cornfields or whatever, hay, whatever grows. So I showed them the hills, rock-ribbed and strong, and I bid them hear the thrush's song. Do we hear the birds in the morning singing? Do we hear them? You're going to hear them because you're buying a bird. Yeah. So I show these doubters then deeds of kindness. This is what we need to do. So we show deeds of kindness done. I show them joy. I show them care. And still they hold that doubting air. How many times, no matter how much of a conversation with you have with someone in your family or old friends that may not still be friends, but when you're trying to say that there's joy in life, there's joy in life, and there, you know, we have beautiful skies, and we have beautiful weather, and we have great friends, and still they hold that doubting air. And faithless go their way, for they are blind of soul and cannot see. So the deeper we go, the deeper and the deeper that we go, then we open up that blindness that's within us. I mean, how many times have you, in probably a little bit of anger or annoyance, said you're so blind you can't even see? I mean, has that ever come out of your mouth? I know it's come out of my mouth, yeah. You know, open your eyes and look around you. And basically that's what this poem, it's from an American poet and author, but that's what this poem is saying, for they are blind of soul and cannot see. And the more that you go deeper into your spirituality and your understanding of God, your eyes begin to open. So from understanding of spirit to the vision of spirit, then there are those that are blind to the truth. The truth is God is all there is. One God, all religions, one God. My neighbor next door, she worships Allah. She said Allah is my God, the same God as your God. One God, that's all. One God. So it's a profound truth then that the blind will not see. So that we have ears and we have eyes, but who has ears to hear, let them hear. That's what it says in the Bible. It doesn't say you have ears and you have eyes. It says you have ears, let you hear. You have eyes that you can see. And there's a difference in there. There's a difference. So eyes to open and not be blind. Do not be blind to the truth. And so many are blind and deaf to the truth of life. And what happens with that? You shut yourselves out from joy in the bounty of the kingdom. How many people are still saying, since COVID, I just can't get out of it, and I'm stuck in a slump, and I just sit home and do nothing, and I can't move, and I don't clean my house, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So many are blind and deaf to the truth of life, shutting themselves away from joy and the bounty of the kingdom. Only when you open that front door and let the fresh air in, trust the wind, do you then have a life. So from Rumi, and Rumi is drunk on the love from God. Most of all of Rumi's poetry and his little short verses are all about being drunk on the love from God. And Rumi says, in the lover's heart is a lute, which plays a melody of longing. You say he looks crazy. That's because your ears are not tuned to the music in which he dances. And it's the same thing. We sit and go, well, he's crazy and I'm not hanging out with him, and his song and dance is nothing I understand, and I'm not going to talk to him because, he or she has a different religion than mine. That's because your ears are not tuned to the music by which he dances. Follow me on my journey. Some of my dance steps are very funny. Some of them would amuse you. Some of them would startle you. We have to get to know each other. We have to get to know each other so we can find that part of us that is within. A long time ago at a conference in the Centers for Spiritual Living, David Leonard is in love with the beloved and in love with Rumi. And we were doing this big workshop where you're all just dancing. And I said to David, I want to be like you. I want to dance with the beloved. And this was years and years ago when I was a new minister. And he said, Aubrey, you got to get in the circle. And you've got to let all of your inhibitions go and just dance. And that's what we need to do. Just join life as we are, who we are, what we are, and just dance. Dance like no one's watching. Dance like you're dancing the dance of the beloved. And Jesus had to speak in parables, and so do we ministers have to speak in parables, so his own disciples would understand. And I was thinking, how many ways can I say God is all there is? And that was, well, let me count the ways. Can you hear? Can you see? Can you hear? Can you see? And whatever else you get insight. Will you not see? You cannot see without insight. If you refuse to see and hear, will you? Listen, open your eyes. Wider, deeper. Will I? Will I? Will I? So we're going backwards and forwards here. I don't know which way I'm going, but we'll find it. Why is this thing backwards? I do that. Oh, I know. My printer at home prints them forward. My printer in the office prints them backwards. Okay. So, sorry about that. So again, what all of this is implying is that we grow up with the teaching of the Christ consciousness and an understanding of the loving God. We grew up in the beginning with this spiritual God, and as we morphed into our own self, we began to say, this doesn't work for me, this can't be true, and there has to be this loving God. But let's think about the beggar for a minute. Remember the beggar that's sitting outside of the temple and he's just sitting there begging because he's blind? Remember that guy in the Bible? And it's really interesting. I looked through different things yesterday and couldn't find a name for that beggar. He didn't have a name. I wanted to give him a name, but he didn't have one. So anyhow, would we not sit outside a door and beg, or would we try to adjust to life? Would we try to adjust to life? So the beggar, even though he was blind, he could hear. And when the master teacher was walking by with John, the disciple, John asked him, Rabbi, teacher, why is this man sitting here, and who sinned? Did he sin, or did his parents sin? And Jesus said, nobody sinned. What happened was he was never open to God. Nobody sinned. So we go through this part in our life about karma or just retribution. And it is because, and it is not because that, because we are not punished for our past sins, because God holds nothing against you, ever. So if God holds nothing against you, why do you hold something against you? So when the blind man heard that, when he heard that he wasn't a sinner or he wasn't paying a debt from his parents, he then moved towards the master teacher, and then the master teacher told him, go and wash your eyes out in the pool of Siloam. So he did, and as he began to take the encrusted clay and dirt, because this beggar just sat in filth day after day, and when he began to remove all of that, and at the same time Jesus was sending light to him, he could see. Go, he said, go and wash. So what we learn from this then is that we too need to go and wash away that blinds us. Wash away beliefs that don't serve anymore. Wash away anger against people. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be friends with people or reach out and touch what you can, but it means you take away the burden, that heaviness that you've been carrying. And we learn when we wash away doesn't serve, we wash away the blindness that we carry. We wash it away. So, and we've spoken about this before. We've spoken about moving forward, leaving here this day, making a decision. Even if it's a baby step, I can just let this much go. We talk about how that there has to be action, that how we have to treat and move our feet. But it's really interesting going all the way back to the New Testament. Okay, the command from Jesus, go to the pool and wash your eyes. Go. To the sick man, arise and take your bed and walk. To Lazarus, come forth. The commands in these parables mean a change of attitude, not a change in environment. Going to the pool of Siloam was a virtue, a purpose, not a place. So when you're moving forward and not looking back, what is your purpose? What is your purpose? So all the way back then, we hear go, arise, come forth, move. It's not just being in a place and being stuck. There is help, but we have to work with that help. We have to get up and rise and move and come forth. Does that make sense? Yeah, right? So these commands and parables mean a change of attitude. So wherever we may be, we find people moving, seeking jobs, seeking happiness. But we must remember wherever we go, what do we take with us? What do we take with us? Ourselves, right? Wherever we go, we take ourselves. So moving isn't a bad thing, but we must remember first to wash our eyes before we go. If we're going to get away from something, and we don't fix that something first, we're taking the clay and the dust and dirt from our eyes with us. We're taking that baggage with us. So if you want to go away, first turn to that spiritual understanding, the spiritual vision. Then move forward in truth and go to that place. You know, Emerson has a quote in, I forgot, I think it's actually Reliance, in his essay, Reliance. And it's about moving for the sake of moving is fine. But moving to get away, I'm paraphrasing, but moving to get away from something, then you take that with you and then you set up again and you create the same life that you had here. So if you're moving because you want to move to a warm climate, that's fine. But if you're running from town because of whatever, you have to clean it up first and you take it with you, right? I mean, that totally makes sense. So it takes a lot of insight and it takes a lot of faith to keep going our way. Some of us have been blinded from birth, blind to the understanding that there is a way. The beggar was blinded at birth. Not that he was born blind, but he was blinded by the fact that he must have done something wrong, or he was paid for what his parents did wrong. Don't do that. It's the same as if we go back to Myrtle Fillmore. She was sick and she believed that she would die young like everybody in her family, until someone said one thing that caught her attention, and you don't have to abide by the diagnosis. You don't have to inherit that which your family. My whole family is almost dead of cancer. I refuse to have cancer. I'm not going to have cancer. And I don't have cancer. And if there's any cancer cells in my body, they will remain dormant until I decide to leave here at age 100. So, but that's been my belief for so long. Because I felt the only way that I could keep my daughter from dying of cancer was if I didn't. I wanted to break the chain. It's just a belief system. You know, I'm going away tomorrow. I'm going away on a real vacation. Why was I going to tell you that story? It just went that way. Oh my God, don't you just hate that? I'm glad you're in the audience that understands. What were we talking about? My daughter? Holy
Cancer.
mackerel.
And you're going away on vacation.
Right, I'm going away on vacation and I'm going to have a good time. So, those of you that are out there live streaming that don't know me, you need to come in here and be a part of this, because this gets to be really fun. What you see is what you get. I'm telling you the truth. Telling you the truth. So anyhow, going away. So what does God want from us? He wants us to be happy, whole, healthy, at peace, to love and be loved. That's all. So we have to open our eyes. So I really encourage you to take the Tethered Soul course with us, because we're going to go deep in there. And we're going to get these things out of your head. You know, I was telling you last week about this. Someone asked, you know, what is the premise of this class? And I was saying that we, in our minds, that we have our minds going constantly, ding, 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 and it rules our life. And so I ordered new luggage, and it's coming tomorrow after I leave. And so my mind kept going, if you only had ordered it sooner. Why did you wait? You knew you wanted it. Maybe it'll come sooner. Maybe, and then finally I went, this is what the Untethered Soul is talking about. That was ruling my day. That was ruling when I looked and saw the tracking and it was coming Monday. So I finally said, shut up. And that's what we have to do. That's that roommate that actually does rule our life. Now, I could have let that go up until this morning. And it's funny, I was talking to Reverend Mill about that because we were talking about the untethered soul. And she said, that's just pure consciousness. And that's it. ABC, awareness brings consciousness. When you can tell that dialogue that goes on and on, give me a break, leave me alone, then you're running your life. The roommate in your head is not running your life. And this is a freedom, believe me, that you want to have. It is a freedom you want to have. So, quietly, and now if we could come into peace and quiet and close down. Our meditation today is actually from Rumi. And it says, we can see the truth in your eye. So just settling in. Closing down the voice in your head, saying in your head, peace, peace, peace. I'm still, I'm still. Quiet, quiet. I listen to the quiet. And Rumi tells us this. For ages you have come and gone, courting this delusion. For ages you have run from the pain and forfeited the ecstasy. So come, return to the root of the root of your own soul. Although you appear in earthly form, your essence is pure consciousness. You are the fearless guardian of divine light. So come, return to the root of the root of your own soul. When you lose all sense of self, the bonds of 1,000 chains will vanish. Lose yourself completely. Return to the root of your soul. You descended from Adam by the pure word of God, but you turned your sight to the empty show of this world. Alas, how can you be satisfied with so little? So come, return to the root of your own soul. Why are you so enchanted by this world when a mind of gold lies within you? Open your eyes and come, return to the root of your soul. You are a ruby encased in granite. How long will you deceive us with this outer show? Oh friend, we can see the truth in your eyes. So come, return to the root of your own soul. After one moment with a glorious friend, you become loving, radiant, and ecstatic. Your eyes are sweet and full of fire. Come, return to the root of your own soul. Soul of all souls, life of all life. You are that seen and unseen, moving and unmoving. You are that. The road that leads to the city is endless. Go without heed or feet, and you'll already be there.
What else could you be? You are that. So come, return to the root of your own self. And so ends this lesson, and so begins a new life.
Do you know that you are loved? Do you know you've made a difference in the lives you've touched? All the times you felt unworthy in the darkness of your soul, and all the lies you told yourself. Just let it go, 'cause you matter, you matter. I can't imagine all you've been through, 'cause I've not walked in your shoes. But you will always have my heart, and I see you. You matter. You matter. Feel it all release. It's there you'll find your peace. You'll find your peace. Do you know how much you matter? Do you know that you are loved? Do you know you made a difference in the lives you've touched? 'Cause you matter. You matter. You matter. You matter. You matter.
And indeed you do. You matter a lot. So if you would say our offertory prayer with me. The love of God inspires me to give in a spirit of generosity. I give with love and joy to ensure the growth of this ministry and this Unity Center. And so it is. Thank you, God. And I'm going to tell you, I had a surprise little note on my desk this morning, and it was from my beloved Tibby's grandson. A little card, and said, "How are you?" and so forth. And I said to Jules, because there was no envelope, just the card, and she said, "Oh, well, this week he sent the church $100. That was from my Tibby, so that was just so sweet. And those are the things that just make the reason why we're here so special. Speaking of special, so make sure before you leave, number one, that you look at the pet blessing board in Jules's office. That was so graciously put together by Leanne. Thank you, Leanne. That's great work again. Thank you, Susan, for all the work you did. And you could get that board, and maybe we could use it for next year as an advertising piece. Okay, so thank you for that. Also, unfortunately, Leanne has been keeping me abreast of what's going on with our beloved Reverend Jenny, and not in the best of places right now. So, Luann, she'll kill me. Leanne, because she hates both names. Leanne brought in a bunch of cards, thinking of you cards, and they're here in the church. And if you could fill them out today, we'll get them out and get them mailed this week. If you would do that before you leave, just so that she knows that there's prayers pouring in for her at this time, that would be really great. Another thing, before we go to birthdays, I'd like to say is Jules is going on vacation, which is a great and wonderful thing. She deserves it for sure. And Leanne is going to be working with me. That is so exciting for 3 days. But we need somebody to do PowerPoint. And I did suggest that Jules contact Jackie and see if she could fill in that day. But if any of you are strong enough to think you can do that, in case we can't get Jackie, would you please check in with Jules and raise your hand and be counted. So, okay, so we have birthdays. We have John Horson, who's not here. Joy
Preserve.
She's not here. Patty Mack, she's not here. Nicholas Ryan, that's my Timmy's grandson. He's not here. Mark Floyber, he's not here. And Angela Floyber, she's not here. So those are all of our October birthdays, but let's just sing to them anyhow, even though they're not here. And it is birthday Sunday. Do we do a cake? I don't remember where we are with cakes. So let's stand and sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you. Spirit's blessing you now. Spirit's blessing you now. Spirit's blessing you, you're wonderful. Spirit's blessing you now. Happy birthday, all of October. Okay. As you know, tomorrow morning at 4:45 in the morning, I am on my way to the airport, going to Arizona. I know there was something I wanted to tell you about that, but I still don't remember. Reverend Sandra McKinney is going to be our guest speaker, and she's going to talk how critical about our spiritual journey. So it just follows the path that I've been on, and this was really great. And also, the following week, I will be here, but we're also going to have another guest speaker. You know how those conversations go when you're at a funeral or a wedding or a conference, and it says, we should get together. And we'll come to Sheboygan anytime. The door is always open. So one of my colleagues called and says, the door's still open. I want to come to Sheboygan. So I said, sure. So she says, well, I have to take the boat from Michigan to, can you pick me up? Well, long story short, I will be here on the 17th back from vacation, but she has asked to speak. So we're going to have 2 guest speakers, and I think that's really great. Her name is Reverend Diane Stark, and she is from, is it Muskegon or some Michigan
Muskegon.
voice? something.
Muskegon.
What is it?
Muskegon.
Muskegon, that place. She's from there. So anyhow, so thank you to all of our volunteers today, Sandy, Alexander, Diane Foley, Carrie Smith, Tom Floyd, thank you. And again, a message from Diane Foley, start saving stuff. So, yeah, I was gonna say, what's your name again? Ed. Having an off day. So I have 2 pieces of luggage I have to get out of my garage. Can I put them in your garage? Oh, well, you have a basement, right? Yeah. So I'm trying, Diane, I'm trying. But it's like, where do I put it? Okay, so Men's Fellowship, October 9th, Women's Circle of Friends, October 16th, and I believe that is all of our announcements. Anybody have anything? Please remember, next week, we have a guest. That doesn't mean that you don't come, that means you show up in and fill the seats, because it's very difficult for a guest to speak to an empty room. So, which this is not, by the way. Can you see the vision? I see the souls there. They're going to start to arrive. And by Halloween, they're going to be like this in the seats. Okay, I am very off today. If you want to know what's going on, I'm in total shock because I went to talk to a builder and just to find out a little information, and I took Leanne with me because in case I didn't ask the right questions. So anyhow, to make a long story short, I ended up buying a house that's not built yet. And then I sat for 3 hours with Leanne and the builder, and we changed all these walls, and every time we made a change, the price of the house went up. And I think I'm still in shock. So now I have Leanne, Rodney, and Renee, who like to be with me and spend my money. So we moved walls, and we put in doors, and we extended things. And so in June, I am actually going to be moving into a real house in Sheboygan Falls in the same neighborhood as where the condo was. And I couldn't sleep last night. I was still moving walls and thinking about the flooring and all these things I picked out. So that's why I'm a little sugar on today. And also that I'm going away and I can't wait. Do I need a vacation?
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, let us stand and sing the peace song and our prayer of protection and our closing prayer. We was together, we was together in heart. We was together, we was together in love. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, and we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
that God watches over us wherever we are, our God is, and all is well.
And as we leave here today, we just leave with a deeper understanding of who and what we are, what our intention is, what our purpose will be. And we just go out into the universe saying, yes, I am that. I am the I am that I am, and that is perfectly okay with me. So we have a wonderful week. We just enjoy being. We don't need to ask how we are. We just have to say, I am being, for I am the I am that I am. And for this and so much more, we're ever grateful. And together we say, so it is, amen, and it is done. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for everybody on the live stream. Have a beautiful week. Make sure that you miss me, but be here for Reverend Sandra, and I will see you